know if your students are ready for some type of guided reading? How do you know if they're not ready? No worries, I'm not going to leave you hanging. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what I do to answer these questions for myself. Stick around. Small group has been equated with more, faster, quicker. Never before has there been a push to get students to read even more quickly than what we're seeing today. Somehow the powers that be think that it's okay to just push students along. We're skipping over developmental milestones left and right, all in the name of reading earlier. But instead, the opposite has happened. Students are falling behind at a faster rate than ever, and all of our pushing is getting them to hate small group and reading. So before we talk about what they need, let's address the elephant in the room. People automatically think that when you talk about guided reading, you're talking about leveled readers and balanced literacy and all of that jazz. But let's pump the brakes for a minute. The general definition of guided reading is meeting with a small group of students, generally no more than 4 to 6, and you're guiding them and supporting them through a text. Students are normally grouped by ability, so that means that if you have students who are reading words, you wouldn't pair them with students who are still working on letters and sounds. The teacher leads the group through reading strategies, and there are some things that happen before, during, and after reading. The ultimate goal is to get students to be able to use these strategies independently. This means that guided reading is perfect for students who have almost mastered certain concepts, such as concepts of print, letter recognition, letter sounds, basic decoding skills, and they can recognize a few sight words. And most importantly, they are phonologically aware. If you have students who are struggling significantly with everything that I just mentioned, then they are not ready for guided reading. Yes, we want students to be able to comprehend text, but we cannot ignore those foundational skills. When you find that students lack all of the prerequisite skills for reading, you have to go back and fill in those deficits. Guided reading does not provide systematic word study or explicit instruction. And this is what emergent readers require. I talk more about this in the video on the simple view of reading. I'll link it in the description below. So let me know in the comments below, when you know that your students aren't ready for guided reading, what do you do at your small group table? Alright, so moving on. By now, you've answered the question about whether or not your students are ready for guided reading. So what do? In some aspects, small groups have become synonymous with guided reading, but that's simply not true. It's not accurate at all. So what I had to learn to do was to define small groups for myself and for my students. Because my small group is based on the needs of my students, then my definition is a bit broader. I view it as a time when I, as a teacher, guide my students through some type of learning process when it comes to literacy. This means meeting students where they are and filling in their deficit. My students who are ready for guided reading participate in guided reading. Don't forget to tap the like button if you're getting value. This is where focused small group instruction comes in. I wholeheartedly believe in small group instruction. It is my happy place. In order for it to be successful, this means that I have to zero in on what my students need. In my classroom, this tends to be students who know less than half of the alphabet. And if you're still working on phonemic awareness, letter recognition, letter sounds, concepts of print, that is completely okay because those are the foundational skills. More often than not, when we do move to text, this includes sight words that they haven't necessarily learned to decode yet, but that we've been working on, and words that they can decode. It is okay if your students are not ready for guided reading, but it's our job to help them get there. This is no small feat, but it can be accomplished by focusing your efforts on filling in their deficit. My favorite books to read on these topics are Small Group Reading Instruction by Beverly Tyner and Making the Most of Small Group by David Diller. I'll make sure to link them in the description below. I'll see you guys in the next video.